Just the other day, I told you, don't be surprised if you see an increase of false flag attacks in New York City now that Zohran has won the mayor election. And it didn't take long. Didn't take long at all. In fact, let's go back to that moment. Let's go back to that moment. This was just the other day I made this video. Just a reminder, listen to this. Corporate media wanted you to believe otherwise, but for those of us who were there on the ground, we know. A lot of the students that were protesting at the college, encampments were Jewish. So Jonathan Greenblatt is pissed because, they didn't get their way. And I will say this, don't be surprised if you see a number of false flags in New York City. Don't be surprised if you see that. I would imagine there's probably going to be some false flag events during Mandami's mayorship so that they can say, see, there's this rise of anti-Semitic attacks because Zohran is mayor. Wait for it. Wait for it. And now that moment is here because it didn't even take a week. We got to talk about this new attack that has happened and who was caught on camera doing it. Very quickly. And of course, the ADL issued a statement. We are disturbed to learn that a Jewish school and cemetery were reportedly defaced with swastikas, earlier this morning in Brooklyn. Targeting Jewish institutions with hate is abhorrent, and particularly so when children are involved. We are in touch with NYPD hate crimes who are investigating with support from Flatbush Shamrim. So it says Brooklyn Yeshiva spray painted with swastikas by hate-filled vandal. Okay. So apparently, whoever decided to do this didn't think about the fact that there are cameras around. Cameras. Sean King has the video here. This is the man who the NYPD said sprayed the swastikas in New York. Look at the video, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this. Everybody needs to see this because, see, you're probably going to see more of this in action. You see this? Right in Flatbush. Right. But there were a number of Zionists that were already very quick to blame. It's those radical Palestinian protesters. See, now that Zohran Mandami is mayor, look at what is happening to New York. We told you guys, everybody's scared. Everybody is concerned. Jonathan Greenblatt went on to Morning Joe and put a call out and told everybody, he said, listen, if you are experiencing these attacks, we want to hear directly from you. That was him putting out a call. And I warned you then, I said, this is going to be dangerous because people can just make things up, or people can say, oh, okay, well, let's just flood a number of incidents to get this message out there so that people will see this is all because they elected this guy. Jonathan Greenblatt has been known to do this for years. You can still find the videos on YouTube of Jonathan Greenblatt every other year or so saying we're seeing an increase in these incidents. He has been doing this for years. It's not new. It is a trick. And the sad thing about all of this is that when something does truly happen to someone that is that type of crime, people won't look at it the same because false flags. People won't look at it the same because the way that they have used this as a trick, the way that they've used it because people criticize Israel, it doesn't hold the weight that it used to hold anymore. And all of these people, by the way, they're all quiet now. The ADL is quiet. Jonathan Greenblatt is quiet. They're all quiet now that this video footage has been released. Let's get into the details here, ladies and gentlemen. This was the article that revealed who it really was. It says fedora-wearing bicyclist who scrawled swastikas at NYC yeshiva caught on video. Disturbing surveillance captured the mysterious bike-riding vandal who painted swastikas at the Brooklyn yeshiva early Wednesday morning, just hours after socialist Mondami's mayor win. The footage shows a single figure wearing a wide-brim hat pedal up to Megan David Yeshiva in Gravesend around 6:30 a.m., stopping briefly, and then, of course, doing the graffiti there. In light of the results from the election last night, everybody is super sensitive, and we're afraid that this is going to be the new norm, where these people are going to be emboldened to think that they can just get away with it. That came from Bob Moskowitz, who's the executive coordinator for Flatbush, Shoreham Patrol. So we all see that here. First of all, it's hate graffiti. I don't care if it's on a mailbox or a light pole. We would look into that too. But here you have a predominantly Jewish neighborhood, a Jewish school with massive attendance. This is one of the largest schools in the community and is very traumatic for the entire community. But again, look who the perpetrator was on video. So it's already starting, folks. People are already committing false flag events. Silence from everybody who came after this. The hateful act came just hours after Mondami, a Muslim and social democrat, comfortably beated Andrew Cuomo in the mayor race, sparking concern among some New Yorkers who are wary of the mayor-elect's anti-Israel rhetoric. But the numbers show that a large number of Jewish New Yorkers voted for Zohran Mondami. If the concern is as large as they say that it is, why didn't all those people vote for Andrew Cuomo? Let's continue on. It's not like Zohran didn't get any Jewish vote support. He got a significant amount. It's not a coincidence that this happened hours after Mondami won the election. Anyone who claims that is lying to themselves or having delusions. This was a statement that the new boss was in charge. We finally get to show our true colors. He called it a sign of Mondami's New York. So again, the video footage shows who the perpetrator is. But they still want you to believe that it was a pro-Palestinian protester. Are we serious? Are we serious? Moskowitz said the patrol received a call about the graffiti about a half hour after the incident, with 2 swastikas painted on the main building and 2 on the window of an adjoining building. He said they then notified the NYPD. The school washed off the swastikas off the windows and taped Israeli flags over the ones on the wall. Within hours, Empire State polls condemned the hate crime and blamed the new political climate. Here it comes. They blamed the new political climate. Elise Stefanik, of course, this is reprehensible and unacceptable and should serve as a wake-up call that Mondami is ushering in a pro-terrorist anti-Semitic takeover of New York City, aided and abetted by the worst governor in America, Kathy Hochul. Yeah, and it's just no coincidence that Elise Stefanik just happens to be running against Kathy Hochul. Here it is, folks. Here it is. But now that that video has been released, they are all quiet. I haven't heard them say anything. Silence. Both Mondami and Hochul are silent and have failed to condemn. Hochul and Mondami did ultimately condemn on the vandalism, with the mayor-elect chiming in on X. So here she is saying that they didn't condemn, and here it is saying here that both of them did condemn it on X. But she's lying and saying that they didn't. Like I said before, it's just a number of lies. Hochul attended a press event with Democratic State Senate Sam Sutton in Brooklyn Wednesday afternoon, calling the vandalism an act of terrorism. She also committed to adding another $20 million to the state budget for security grants for non-public schools. Police have launched an investigation into this. So here's the thing, right? It's so interesting to me how silent everyone is now. And I warned you guys, we knew that this was going to come. This was going to happen. You're probably going to see more of these. Not thinking about the fact that there are cameras, especially outside schools, there's cameras. But they have to paint this picture. They have to paint this perception in order to try to get support for Israel. Now, of course, 100% condemn any type of hateful acts. I 100% condemn that. But this was a false flag. Nothing from them. You can see it here. Right here. They were talking about this on the rundown. Listen to what they say. They're trying to warn everybody. Oh no, he won. Now we're in fear. Listen to this.
We're joined now by Scott Richmond. He's the New York Regional Director for the Anti-Defamation League. So appreciate you being with us, Scott. But I'm going to focus on the Jewish concerns here, the Israel-related issues as we get into the program here with this mayor. But they're over.
We're going to go back. Listen to what he just said.
We're joined now by Scott Richmond. He's the New York Regional Director for the Anti-Defamation League. So appreciate you being with us, Scott. But I'm going to focus on the Jewish concerns here, the Israel-related issues as we get into.
Pause. Notice how he conflated the two. He said we're going to focus on the Jewish concerns, the Israel-related issues. They are doing this on purpose because what they're trying to do is to say that if you criticize Israel, you are criticizing Jewish Americans. That's why you see them conflating the two. That's what this is really about. Meanwhile, there are Jewish Americans that do not support Israel. Aye.
Into the program here with this mayor. But they're over it. And correct me on my statistics if I'm a little off, but I'm ballparking here. There's, I think, a little over 2 million Jews in New York City, residents, over 20% of the city's residents. Like he claims he'll combat the spiking anti-Semitism, but it's primarily being fueled by the demonization of Israel, which validates going after any of its perceived supporters, the local Jews. And he's a champion of that movement. How does the city's massive Jewish population, now a quarter of the city, deal with this? We're seeing already the specter of swastikas emerging on windows of Jewish institutions, things just today in the wake of his election. Where do things go for that community?
Notice he doesn't show you the video that I just showed you, who the perpetrator was. Notice that he says, pay attention, guys. This is what they are doing. Now, all of a sudden, it's anti-Semitic to criticize Israel. Words matter. And the way you use those words matter.
Yeah, the community is deeply concerned. We're coming to this administration at a moment where anti-Semitic incidents are the highest that they've been, at least since ADL has been tracking anti-Semitic.
So again, that same line that I've heard used over and over and over the years, it's always the highest it's ever been, or an increase like no other. That has been said by the ADL for decades, guys. They're using the same talking point, the same trick.
Incidents, which is since 1979, that's across the country. But if we look across the country, there's no city that has more anti-Semitic incidents than New York. That's just a fact, and it's been that way. And this is what the mayor is coming to, and we are concerned. Where the Jewish community is concerned, because this mayor-elect has a track record of making statements that make the Jewish community feel unsafe, not willing to condemn the statement, globalize the Intifada, making statements about the NYPD and their connection to the state of Israel and its police force.
So now it's anti-Semitic to tell the truth that the NYPD trains with the IDF. So now that's a problem. As if that's not a fact. So this whole Israel thing, they are really trying to use it. People better hope that Elise Stefanik, I don't think she will, but Elise Stefanik doesn't win in New York because she is a psycho, a rampant psycho. And she will make sure that anything that Zohran has to do gets shut down. Kathy Hochul isn't great either. I'll be honest with you. Larry Sharpe is also running against Kathy Hochul. But this is wild, folks. This is wild. So you're going to be hearing a lot of this now that he has won.
Of course, we heard from the prior guest about what's happening on Roosevelt Island with the partnership. Now, he hasn't said he's going to get rid of Cornell Technion, but he said he was going to reassess the relationship between Cornell and Technion, a very important project here in New York, and that makes the Jewish community feel uneasy.
Where was all of this when Black people were being stopped and frisked in New York? Where was all this outcry under Mayor Bloomberg? Where was all of this increase in racism against the Black community? Where was that? We have to be very careful sometimes when we stop and think about collaborating and organizing. Sometimes we have to be very careful, because let me tell you what I have seen over the years. Over the years, what I have seen is that oftentimes Black people, we will organize and collaborate with other groups and sometimes other marginalized groups. And that's fine. But somewhere along the way, the white minority has managed to put themselves into that marginalized bubble. And then once that happened, we are not prioritized. Our concerns are not prioritized. The white minority is prioritized. I said this before about the civil rights movement. Some people got mad at me, but if you go back and you look at things, so we don't get that type of platform. We don't get laws passed to support us and to keep us safe. We don't get any of those things happening. And you have Black politicians going to Israel. People really got to wake up.
I want to talk about your work at the ADL. Okay, you've had open disagreements with the Trump administration and the progressive movements just in recent years. I mean, I guess that comes with the territory of combating anti-Semitism on the right and left, wherever it is. But now what? Okay, how does the ADL, your organization, maintain a seat at the table with this far-left mayor?
We are attacked by the right and left because, as you say, we attack anti-Semitism on the right and left. It's because ADL has a big voice in this space, and both sides want us to speak for them, and we're not interested. We call it out on both sides wherever we see it. In this particular case, the important word is accountability. That's what we're concerned about. We hope that this mayor is not going to be a divisive force. We hope that he'll move forward with constructive measures, but we are concerned, and we're going to hold the mayor accountable. And we are introducing 3 particular measures today. The first is our new tip line, NYC tip line. If it's in coordination with our incident reporting mechanism. So for years, ADL has an incident reporting mechanism through our website, but this is more than that. This is for people to report concerns that they have. We want to be there. We want to play the intelligence role that ADL has played for decades, and see if there are issues that we need to be concerned about. And that's going to feed into our new dashboard on the Mamdani monitor. And we're going to look at the people he is appointing, the people who are in place around him, and we're going to look at the policies. And
again, do Black people do this? Do you see Black people as a community? Do we put out a monitor and look at people's policies and stuff like that? No, we don't. And the reason why I bring that up is because of this. First of all, that moniker, that tracking thing, that should be illegal. But I want to show you something. When you look at the ADL's website, now they claim that they really fighting for everybody, right? But look at who they prioritize. This is what I said about collaborating and organizing. You have to be very careful sometimes, because the white minority will come in such a way and make sure that they are prioritized, and the people who are at the bottom are not. Black people are at the bottom. New mayor, renewed focus to keep New York's Jewish community safe. Homepage. Again, ADL, right? So when we go to the ADL, when we go to the about section, because I want people to see this, who we are, right? Let's read this together. Look at the focus. Black people, like Latino, everybody got to wake up. ADL is the leading anti-hate organization in the world. Founded in 1913, its timeless mission is to stop the defamation of Jewish people and secure justice and fair treatment to all. Again, look at who they prioritize. Today, the ADL continues to fight all forms of anti-Semitism and bias. Look at what comes first. Using innovation and partnerships to drive impact. Partnerships, impact. A global leader in combating anti-Semitism, countering extremism, and battling bigotry wherever and whenever it may happen. ADL works to protect democracy and ensure a just and inclusive society for all. So they talk about an inclusive society for all, but look at who they prioritize. How are you going to talk about an inclusive society for all, and you don't even believe that Israel, that there should be one state where there are equal rights for all? So how are you going to talk about inclusivity? We go on here, because I said before, let me go back up here. People need to see this, because for me, it's very interesting. And when you organize, and this is something I had to learn along the way, when you organize, there's nothing wrong with organizing across, different, ideologies and things like that. Right? But at the end of the day, you have to make sure you don't end up organizing with people that put you at the bottom. Because if this is about inclusivity for all, then this should have been an equal playing field. It shouldn't have been no, let's just focus on this. Oh, and these other things too, we'll add them in as well. If you look at it again, it says it right here. What we do. What is first? Fight anti-Semitism, combat extremism, disrupt online hate and harassment, challenge bias. But what is first? So this is why I say, like, for Black people, we are not first priority. But yet I point this out because you have all these Black politicians going to Israel. You got all these Black politicians saying we have to protect Israel. You got commentators like Van Jones, who's basically just I would say he's not a reporter. I would say a commentator. Basically just a commentator, a Black commentator that is a token that is being used by a racist genocidal state. We are not prioritized. But our Black politicians are going over to Israel to make sure that they are a priority. I don't understand why more people don't see the problem here. The reality is this. If you wonder why a lot of the Black politicians aren't doing anything for the Black community, we are not their priority. Blackface is in high places, but they don't put us first. They put Israel first. Now we're talking about all these attacks. The first false flag is already here. And none of them want to point this out. So there's a plan. There's a plan. Jonathan Greenblatt already put the call out. So don't be surprised if you don't see more false flags to come. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.